Hey guys, in New Zealand it is getting cold. I know it feels like the rest of the world is going into summer. Everyone in Book Talk is getting ready for their summer reads and warm weather. But here in New Zealand, we're going into winter. That's why I've got a nice cup of tea and my jersey on and feeling a little bit more cozy today. I think this morning it was 4 degrees, which I don't know in Fahrenheit. I'll just put up here what it is. Yeah, so got my cup of tea. Let's talk about the books that I read in May. I ended up reading, spilt some tea. I ended up reading 7 books in May. I read 5 fantasy and 2 romance books. It wasn't my best reading month in terms of the ratings I gave books. I think I typically read between 6 and 8 books, so it was an average amount of books I read this month, which I was happy with, really happy with 7 books. Yeah, let's get to it. Book number 1. Well, maybe I should do book number 1 and 2 together because it was a duology. This is a duology that takes place in the same world as The Cruel Prince. It is a sequel to The Cruel Prince. It happens about 8 years later. So it's a young adult fantasy book, or a kind of, I guess, it's classified a little bit as a romantasy, but I would say it's more fantasy than romance. This follows Oak and Seren. Oak is Jude's younger brother, and Oak is now 18 years old, and he pulls Seren in, and they go on a quest or an adventure to try and subdue Ren's birth mother. Seren's birth mother is quite cruel, not a very nice person, doesn't treat Seren well at all. So they are on a quest to try and stop her. The first book follows Seren's POV, which is really interesting. And then the second book follows Oak's POV. I feel like the author was trying to make this quite a fast-paced series. Yeah, the chapters were quite short, easy to read. However, I feel like first book had a bit of a slow start, but you do get background character information, which is really interesting. I did not enjoy this as much as I did the initial Cruel Prince series. Cruel Prince series ended up giving a 4-star, and this series ended up giving a 3-star rating. So even though it was still really great to be back in that world, so this world is a fairy world, but more like fairies as we grew up thinking about. Like fairies can be quite cruel, they can't lie, they're mischievous, some have wings, some have hooves, they don't look like a typical mortal human form. Really, really interesting world. I just did not enjoy it as much as I did the Cruel Prince series. I just didn't connect with the characters as much. But it could be that it was probably a little bit too YA for me. I still think if you did enjoy the Cruel Prince series, then maybe pick up this duology as well, because you might end up enjoying it. It is a very easy and quick read. I also felt like they could have had both POVs in book 1 and book 2, instead of having just Seren's POV in book 1 and Oak's POV in book 2. But again, it wasn't a bad read, just not the greatest read, so I ended up giving them a 3-star. Book 3 was Fangirl Down. Where do I start? This is a contemporary romance book. Our main female character is a fangirl to a golfer, and he is a golfer who is quite down and out at the moment, not doing very well in his golfing, but she's still there every day to support him. They end up having a bit of a fight and she ends up leaving. And then he realizes that he wants to get to know the fangirl and realizes that she's down and out financially. So he gets her to come and be his caddy. So the setup for me was a little bit unrealistic. I was just like, how could this actually work in real life? So she's supposed to be financially down and out. However, she's going along to all his golf tournaments, which can be quite expensive to go to. So I was like, but how is she not able to spend money on her health insurance, but is able to go to all these golf tournaments? But anyways, that's besides the point. I felt like it was quite insta love, and I just did not enjoy the main male character. I really didn't enjoy his personality. Yeah, I just did not enjoy it. I think I would have given it a 1 star, but the only reason why I gave it a 2 star was because they talk about her type 1 diabetes. So I thought it was quite nice of the author to write about chronic illnesses and how those work. For me as a reader, it was really interesting to read about her type 1 diabetes and how she deals with that. I've read other books by Tessa Bailey, enjoyed those, so I think it could have just been a me problem and not, definitely not the author or anything like that. And again, it's probably just, my own opinion. Everyone has their own opinions. Book number 4 and 5, I'm going to group those together as well. I ended up reading A Fire in the Flesh and Born of Blood and Ash. Have I got those right? These are part of the prequel series of the From Blood and Ash series. The sequel series has 4 books, and this is book 3 and 4. It's an adult romantasy series, and it is a really, really good series in general to read. It's one of my 6-star series. Book 3 and 4 weren't as good as the other books in the series. I still enjoyed them. I really did still enjoy them. They just weren't as good. They were a little bit more long-winded. I do feel like book 4 deals with post-traumatic trauma very well. So that was really a really good quality about book 4. And I can't actually say too much about the series, about the plot line or anything like that without giving the whole series away. So I think I might leave it at that. Book 4 of the series, Born of Blood and Ash, I think it's called. Sorry if I've got it wrong again. But this book was a 700-page book. It was, like I said, it was good, not as good as the other books. But I think it hit me in a reading slump because the series is so hyped for me. I read this book and now I am just like battling to get back into romantasy big series. But I'll get there. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Book 6. I ended up picking up Beach Read because after reading such a big romantasy book, I really needed a palette cleanser. And oh my goodness, what a great palette cleanser to pick up. Beach Read. Why have I not read this sooner? It was so, so good. Like, really, really great. I really enjoy Emily Henry's writing and her writing style. I, interestingly, did not enjoy Happy Place, but since then I've read Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, and now Beach Read, and have enjoyed those ones much better than Happy Place. Beach Read is about 2 authors who are both a little bit down and out with their writing, especially the female main character. She's just gone through some family drama with her father passing away and dealing with his hidden secrets that he had. He had an affair and she only realized that post his passing away. So that's put her in a little bit of a writing slump. So her and the main male character, who's also an author, he writes books that always have sad endings. And our main female character is a romance author who writes books with happy endings. Basically what happens is they make a deal or they challenge each other to try write in each other's genres. So she's going to try write a book with a sad ending. And the story goes from there and progresses from there. And we get to know their love story. I ended up giving this book a 4.5 star. And I really enjoyed it. I think it was just what I needed for how I was feeling after reading my previous book. It really helped get me out of that slump a little bit. Emily Henry's writing is just so descriptive, and the way she writes about her characters, you really get to know her characters and you really get to know their backstory and get to bond with them so much. So I really, really enjoyed it. Book number 7, again, I could not go back to a long fantasy series or romantasy series still, so I ended up picking up Assistant to the Villain. And this was a fun, giggly read. Assistant to the Villain is basically about our main female character who starts working for the villain of the kingdom. And they go on an adventure together. And our main female character, she is very witty, very funny. Her inner monologues are hilarious. I had just said in a short recently that when the reason why it took me so long to pick up this book was because the book title and description, for some reason, completely reminded me of Despicable Me. I don't know why. I think it was the whole lovable villain aspect. But obviously now, when I read the book, it obviously had nothing to do with Despicable Me. That was just me. Yeah, yeah, probably because I have a toddler. My brain was just thinking about cartoons. And anyways, I really enjoyed this book. It definitely was a really nice palate cleanser for me. It's not too heavy on the plot. I've been needing to pick up a nice, easy romantasy book. I will admit though, it is definitely a slow burn. So if you don't enjoy slow burns, then maybe this is not for you. I guess for all adult romantasy books, I would always recommend looking at trigger warnings. But yeah, those are the 7 books I ended up reading in May. I would love to hear what your favorite read of the month was. Mine is definitely a tie between Assistant to the Villain and Beach Read. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys all have a wonderful reading month in June.